the majority of people in Greece heard for the first time about the institution of EPPO because of the severe train accident in Tέμπη. After 1 year, there is a strong feeling that investigations are made in a way that the truth will not be uncovered. And I would like to ask, what is the role of EPPO? How effectively can it interfere in this procedure?
Well, EPPO is the first transnational prosecution office. We are a very, very young institution. We started our operations 2.5 years ago. And of course, with this tragedy, we have an ongoing investigation. But our investigation, it's focused on how to clarify how the European money has been used during this project. We know that the National Prosecution Office has a different investigation regarding the crimes that had as an effect the death of the people. But what strikes me in this investigation, because in December we indicted 23 public officials in this case, and we had as a potential suspects some former ministers involved. And with that occasion, I found out that there is a provision in the Constitution of Greece according to which we cannot make the investigation. And this is against the regulation, this is against the EU law. Unfortunately, we had to split that part of our investigation and to refer our case to that parliamentarian committee. From my perspective as a prosecutor, this is inadmissible because this is a tragedy, this is a trauma. And I saw it in Romania when it was that case with the fire, and we said that corruption kills, but not only corruption kills, the financial criminality also kills, and this is the case. And this kind of trauma cannot be healed without justice. And in this case, for us, it's impossible to find out the entire facts and the entire truth because we cannot investigate this part.
Since you find this inadmissible, how can you, did you discuss about this matter with the government today, with the Minister of Justice?
We raised this issue because this is against, as I said, against the EU regulation. We have sent a letter to the European Commission because in our activity, if we see that there are provisions in the national legislation that are against the EU legislation or against the regulation of the EPPO, we do usually this information, we send this information. And, regarding to this situation, I had the impression that, you are in that situation when you want to draw the fish, but you cannot draw the fish. That we are exactly in this situation with this case. This is the word that defines the situation from my perspective.
Do you also know that there is about more than 1 million signatures of people asking for the same thing? I mean, asking for the ability for a politician to be prosecuted without the interference of the...
I totally understand this, and I totally understand the parents of the victims, the relatives, the families, because I met in Romania the families of those who died because of corruption, of the problems that we had in our case, and I'm still haunted in every day about that thing. So I totally understand what they are trying to do. And as I said, without justice, this trauma cannot be solved. And if we do not address this issue to the roots, the problem will be not solved.
And how much do you think can you push the Greek government to that direction?
Well, I don't think we have more instruments or more tools to push than this. But I hope the Greek government also wants to find out the truth, and the Greek government wants to offer justice to everyone here in Greece. So I still have hopes that this provision will be changed.
As for that, what you said now, there is some signals on the other direction. I mean, your conclusions about the indictment of 20, how many there? 23 people. You said that in that report that you connect the problems of the contract 717 about signaling and remote controlling of trains, you connect it with the accident. At the same time, the government and the majority party are saying exactly the opposite, that only the human factor is responsible and not the problems with the systems.
You refer, when you say government, to what the parliamentarian committee,
yes,
because it was a decision a few days ago?
Yes.
Okay, again, drown the fish. This is my comment. You try to drown the fish. What we put, that sentence that we put there, is based on evidence, is based on the investigation, and based on what we found out making the investigation. I don't know what they investigate, I don't know if they heard the witnesses, I don't know if they look at the issue, but I have the impression that it's this.
So who is drowning the fish?
Those who gave this reply, and those who do not let us to make the real investigation. Because what we put in that sentence is based on evidence. And I don't think that this immunity is the proper way to find out the truth and to make justice. Because it's for the prosecutors, for the police officers to make the investigation. It's not for the parliament. We do not tell the parliament how they should adopt the law. We do not tell the government how they should lead the country. So none of them should tell us how we should make the investigation. This is our job.
Do you know also that during that committee in the parliament, there were some strange comments about hidden purposes, referring to your investigation? Have you heard about that? I mean, there were
no, but if you ask me,
there were people speaking on the committee, and they said, "Oh, okay, yes, that prosecutor, we know her, and not about you."
Oh, yeah.
And we know it from other cases that she was running after us, and nothing was.
Yeah, nothing was proven. There were some allegations or some statements.
Politicians, I mean.
If I know that marathon was invented here in Greece, but I don't think my colleagues likes to run, you know, because they said that we run after them. I don't think this is the purpose, but I'm very proud of the work of my colleagues here in Greece. And I think the real purpose of that investigation was to find out the truth and to make justice and to see if there is criminal liability for everyone. And our role is to make investigations and to prove that the law is equal for everybody. And in this case, it's not like that. It's not like that. And the administrative decision shouldn't be able to stop the course of justice. Like in this case, when you ask for the lifting the immunity and you don't get it, or when you have to investigate people who have a different rank in society and you cannot do it. And there is no any other reason behind this case and behind this investigation that's to make justice for the parents of the victim, for the relatives, for the families, or for the entire society.
Apart from the Greek authorities, there were also European authorities who cannot be considered as innocent of the blood. I mean, people who gave the money, gave the European funding the previous year, and they continued to give them, even if they saw that there are many contracts that were not giving a result. Are you also investigating about them? I mean, about the European?
In some of our investigations, we also investigate the public officials either for corruption, either for abuse in office, and we establish in some of the cases that they were, in a way, they have a criminal liability about how they managed the project, how they checked if everything was implemented right, or if, I don't know, the goods that were in those projects were underestimated or higher up of the estimations. Of course, we have these cases. Our competence go back only to the year 2017, so we can investigate everything that happened only after that point. In the entire architecture put in place to protect the EU money, the financial interest of the European Union, there are a lot of institutions with different competencies. Our competence is to make investigations, but there are also other institutions who have control, like Court of Auditors, Olaf, European Commission, national authorities via those managing authorities. And this is what we all the time we say, because the point that you raise is very interesting for me. We all the time said that the level of detection is very low and is not credible. When you have a project that takes, 3 years to be implemented, and during these 3 years, someone is coming all the time with false invoices that, let's assume, they have to build a hospital and they come with the invoices and no one is looking that the hospital is not there. How they cannot detect that there is a fraud? Why they do not report this to the PPO? Even now, if you look at the level of the reports, you will see that, for example, in 1 year, we receive almost double number of the reports from the private parties than to the national authorities. And from the European institutions, bodies and agencies, we have received only 108 reports. 108 reports. And this is what we said in the last 3 years, that for years, the level of fraud was underestimated.
Is there any way that you can assure people in Greece that we will know what happened, what really happened there sometime? Is there any way that you can assure this?
In EPPO investigation, we will do everything that it's in our hands to find out the truth. But also I have to tell the Greek citizens that we are not allowed to do it if this provision in Constitution is not changed. I do not have any proper words for the families of the victims, but I can tell you that I saw this in Romania. It was the same fire who destroyed the life of many families. There were more than 60 people who died, and some of them had injuries, and they has been sent to the hospital, and then in the hospital they should have had a barometric room, but because of corruption, that barometric room was not proper equipped. They used the money in different purposes, and they also died because they couldn't be treated.
Is it possible that politicians and ministries should be charged at the end of the day?
I think the law... I'm sure that the law has to be equal for everybody. And in general, if we open an investigation, we have to be allowed to investigate everyone, whatever rank they have, whatever position in society they have, whatever if they're poor or they are rich. This is the main principle. But here, in this case, because this provision in Constitution exists, we cannot check, we cannot make the investigation, we cannot find out the truth. And if I refer now only to VAT fraud, because this is another type of criminality that we have identified, and we see that there is an entire criminal industry behind the VAT fraud. When you have the meetings with the Minister of Finance or with the people in the finance, they will tell you, I don't have a problem with VAT in my country. But when you look at the figures, you see that the level of frauds in each year, according to Europol estimation, is 50 billion euros. And you see that, let's take the example of Greece. You have a gap of 30 million euros. Just let me to check. 3 billion euros VAT gap in Greece. This VAT gap cannot be explained, let's say, in a very substantial part, only by fraud. So that it's fraud. And it's still accepted. We also communicated, and with this occasion I found out something new about the legislation is this impunity clause. And this also, corruption kills, financial fraud kills, but also impunity kills,
Of course.
Because what is the message that you send? You can steal whatever you want, and if you are catched, the only bad thing that can happen to you is to give money back. And it's not good. And we also criticize this provision, because in this case, if you pay money back, we have to close the investigation without any other consequences for those who committed
you have to close
the cases. Yes. It's mandatory because it's not possible to continue. And we have asked, including today in the meeting with the Minister of Justice, that this provision has to be changed.
And what did he say?
That there are some amendments that will be included in the law. So we will see. We have to follow to see.